Victor, King of Morons. Welcome to another long ass video.
Never should have come here in the first place. Hello there, morons. It's Victor, give me a break man, give me a flake man, the king of the morons and the godfather of J-vlogging, here with a strong 9. I don't know what that is. You guys know I'm all about strong 0. But today I picked up a strong 9. And welcome to another laundry video. This is using the GoPro with a Vid Pro mic. I've had a few problems with this mic. I hope it's okay. Cheers. Pineapple, not bad. This is a, oh, sorry buddy. This is a laundry video, which means you do not have to actually watch. If you have things to do like doing your laundry or masturbating to whatever animal porn you watch, go to it. I do not advocate animal porn, of course. I'm just being facetious. If you don't know what that word is, please turn off this video immediately. We're going to be using words like that occasionally, very rarely, but occasionally. So if you can't handle that, then yeah, go away. So today, as you can tell by the title, we're going to be addressing a very silly topic, which is whether all white people in Asia are losers. Now, let's take a couple things out of the way immediately. First of all, I am not white. A lot of you think I'm white. The funny thing is, in America, where I grew up and left about 24 years ago, I've lived in Japan 24 years now, people would often ask me where I am from, and they would ask me, and I would answer, well, my parents are from Peru, and they would say, ah, haha, I knew it. And I grew up in a white community until I was 17, and I moved to New York City, and then people would only address me in Latino, in Spanish, and that's when I realized, oh, I apparently am not white. Now, I've never been one to identify I don't identify myself by religion or race. That's not how I see myself. I'm just who I am. I'm Victor, give me a break man, give me a flake man. I don't really, I don't need those labels. However, a lot of people do. It is natural. One of my theories in life is it is natural, not just my theory, but many people's theories, for humans to be afraid of that which they do not understand, they do not know. So we have a tendency to want to label things, which is fine. It's fine. Oh, check this out. I'm walking around just to give you guys a view of the interesting sights here. This is Koreatown. Look at that. And it's got a Ghostbusters sign at the top. That's funny, huh? I almost want to stop in and have some Korean food, but I'm too busy making a video for you guys. It's natural for us to want to label things as black and white. And this video is almost irrelevant and silly because it's going to be talking about race. But does race really exist? Aren't we all the same underneath? Doesn't it depend on how we are brought up? By the way, check out the Unchi sign and check out the t-shirt. Dump Trump, and look at the Unchi sign. Unchi, of course, means poop in Japanese. Children say Unchi, adults say Unko, and your doctor will say Daiben, I believe. That would be your bowel movement. But anywho, so this video, that's the one thing I want to get out of the way, is that I do not consider myself white. I just consider myself to be a human being. I am married to a Japanese person, and we have a Japanese woman, by the way. And we have a son, the love of my life. Sorry, baby. Yoko, my wife. You know you're the love of my life, but we both know, once you have a kid, by the way, you're quite willing to sacrifice your spouse for your kid. That's the way life goes. That's the way it goes. Not that that hypothetical would ever come up in conversation, but should it, everyone knows where they stand, at least. Now that's number one thing out of the way. Number two thing out of the way, the second thing I'd like to get out of the way, is that fact that this video is inspired by a video that really does not deserve any mention, and I won't even mention who made it. I'll do it. So I'll talk about him. There is an Australian, I believe he's Australian, No, well, let's say he's a Vietnamese Australian. He looks Vietnamese, but he speaks with a perfect Australian accent. And he apparently lives in Vietnam now, rides a scooter around, distributing his Patreon wealth to people. And he makes fairly comical, very watchable videos. Juvenile, but that's fine with me since I still have quite a bit of juvenile in me, and that's not to be taken sexually. And he made a video recently declaring that all white people are losers, without exception, is in the description. Though he begins his video saying something like, "Oh, I don't want my words to be misconstrued." That's my horrible Australian accent. But then goes on to say things that are just ridiculous. I mean, things that you can't really say because they're statistically unprovable. And actually, I mean, it's just ridiculous. But he does bring up the word loser. And I don't know if he talked about it, but in the comment section, you can see references to something called loser back home, LBH, I think that's what they call it, which I think is a term they use in China when you refer to foreigners who come to China, who do well in China but are actually losers back home. Now, I want to make sure you guys understand one thing. I'm not going to defend the word losers because I think it's a ridiculous label to put on anybody. Just because you don't like somebody doesn't mean they are a loser. If someone's paying the bills and doing well and is happy, they're a winner. And I'd like to think most of us are winners. Even if you're not someone I get along with, but you're doing well, I'm not going to call you a loser. That's a Donald Trump type of expression, and it's just ridiculous. Nobody is a loser. Okay, that's just silly. Silly to say that. Yeah. There's a love hotel in the background. If any of you are feeling a little bit horny later in the show, you can go have a little fun. So yeah, it's just a ridiculous thing to address. Like, is he a loser? Is he really a loser? Well, if we want to enter, let's play the devil's advocate and talk about this word. There are so many people in the world who do not have passports, who've never been out of their own countries. Are they not losers, or are they at least not more deserving of the word loser? I mean, assuming they want to leave their country or want to travel or want to talk shit about people who've been out of their country. So a lot of people talk about, oh, I want to go to Japan, I want to do something, I want to live abroad, but they never do anything. But of course, anyone that you meet over here has actually accomplished that. They've come here, they've got the passport, they've saved money, they've got jobs, and they did it. I mean, they've succeeded on some point, and they're not hurting anybody. So how are they losers? The true losers, I think, are people who are irresponsible, who do not take care of their family or their children. I don't know what percentage or what, and I'm not trying to refer to any particular group of people, but I read recently that a large percentage of people are born from bastards, I guess, the simple English. Yeah, and their parents are not married, and their fathers don't take care of them, and some people don't even know who their fathers are. And people who are irresponsibly fathering children, I think those people are much more deserving of the expression loser than anyone who comes to Asia, etc., etc. Anyway, we got get that out of the way. Okay, so the video that I guess I will admit inspired this video is really beneath. It's a troll video. There's really no reason to answer anything in that video. It's just ridiculous. It doesn't make none of that makes any sense. However, there is a very common misconception that all the foreigners in Japan or Asia are losers. And while I will admit that I've made videos in the past about people who have come here ill-equipped to deal with the few challenges that this country offers, and that they should go home. Yeah, I've talked about those before. In fact, I hate to say it, Barry, but I think in a recent video I talked about a guy named Barry doing a GoFundMe who apparently, you know, probably shouldn't be in Asia. He's had problem after problem after problem, and he's not doing well. Anyway, there's a lot of those people, but are they losers? Are they hurting people? I don't think so. Oh yeah, and quickly, to get that out of the way, the video I'm referring to was made by a Vietnamese-looking person with an Australian accent, which implies that his parents must have thought that Australia was a better place to go to than Vietnam. The fact that he got that education, right? One thing. and it's very heavily edited. So the video begins with a very, very short cut of his abs, showing that he has muscular abs, at least the top half of his stomach. But, you know, you got to show the whole naked body if you're going to brag about your body. And then it's very cut. There's a lot of cuts here and there, so it's hard to tell how smooth he actually is in real life as a speaker. This video, of course, will be completely unedited. There will be no cuts at all, so you can judge for yourself whether I've manipulated anything in video form here. So there's nothing really much to say about that. But there are a lot of people in the world who are losers, and those I would say are the people who are hurting other people. The people who call the cops and then ambush them and then shoot them. Those people are really losers. Those are people who are hurting society, if you ask me. The other strange thing about this whole misconception that, you know, foreigners in Asia are losers is simply the fact that they are welcome here. People want us here. I'm not going to say there's a void here, but there's definitely a demand. There's definitely a demand for foreigners here. Now, I've been here 24 years. This country has been very good to me. There have been at times when I've been treated questionably, with contempt even, or we'll just say it, racist. People have been racist to me, but very rarely, and I would say probably much less than they were in America. I dated a woman in America for a long time, and her roommate, but she was very shy, so she didn't like to hold hands in public. And her roommate asked me, they were both white. Her white roommate asked me if the reason was because I was Hispanic, which is something I can't imagine a Japanese person ever asking me. Anyway, that's I had to reach way back 27 years for that one. Yeah, there is a strong demand for foreigners here in every sense. Of course, job-wise, teaching English. And the other thing about that video that was a little bit elitist is, let's say that, yeah, let's assume that you're only the only thing you got going for you is that you can speak your own language. Let's assume that's true. Okay, let's say for a moment, let me entertain that and say, okay, that's fine. But what is wrong with that? What if that is the only thing you've got going for you, but you come over here and you've made a good life for yourself teaching English? You know, I wouldn't recommend it, actually. But my point is this: there's nothing wrong, and it's elitist for you to suggest that an English teacher is beneath you. For you to say, oh, you're just an English teacher. Well, what about a garbage? What do they call them? Disposal engineer or something? What about the garbage man? Is that work beneath you too? My father taught me that. My father, by the way, is a professional. He's a very highly sought, well, he's retired now, but he was a very highly sought after medical professional back in the day. And he taught me this. He said, no matter what you do, as long as it's an honest day's work, there's nothing to be ashamed of. So for people to put down English teaching as if it's something to be ashamed of, well, that's just elitist. And at the end of the day, the question is, are you happy? Did you do a good job? Are you proud of the job you did? I've lived in Japan 24 years. I've been an English teacher. I have owned 2 bars. I have been a rock and roll manager. And the job that made me happiest, I won't say the most exciting job, but the job that made me happiest and made me most fulfilled as a human being was an English teacher. I helped people, they come to my school and they help me. I help them get get jobs. I help them interview and get high TOEIC scores, and I help them enjoy themselves. When I was a bar owner, I got people drunk and I took their money. At the end of the night, I had lots of money. I had, you know, the table, I'd have $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on the table. Of course, I'd have to pay, you know, pay the staff and pay the alcohol, pay for the alcohol. But what did I do? I got a lot of people drunk. Is that really much to be proud of? There wasn't much joy in that. When I was a rock and roll manager, I don't want to badmouth those guys, but they it's hard at keeping a bunch of rock and roll guys in check and booking their gigs and stuff. So it was a lot of fun. It was really, really exciting, but it was mostly watching people from the wings having fun. It wasn't, as the manager, they needed me to promote to advance their careers, and without me they couldn't have done anything because none of them spoke Japanese except for one guy who had no social skills. But yeah, in the end, you know, their success was not my success. And they did succeed thanks to me. But I gotta say, I enjoyed teaching English the most. I enjoyed YouTubing a lot. Don't misunderstand. Oh wow. Yeah, I enjoy YouTubing a lot, making these videos. This is actually who I am, even more than being an English teacher. This is my personality right here. Telling you what I think coming out of my mouth. Am I a loser? What if I were only a YouTuber? Would I be a loser? What if I were only an English teacher? Would I be a loser? Those are questions we have to ponder, you know. So I think it's silly when people say this person is a loser or that person is a loser. It's just ridiculous. Anyway, the other problem with that is the perception. You know, I think this happens less in Japan. The guy who made that original video talks about Southeast Asia and the poorer countries, which I assume are Vietnam and places like Thailand and places like that. I'm assuming a Westerner or a white guy does better in those places because he has money. And the people in those countries do not have money, so that Westerner is able to exploit his financial position and, you know, get girls who don't have money and such. And that can be irksome to some of the good men who are in those countries. But it's silly for those men to take out their frustrations on Westerners. If you lose a girl to a Western guy, it's not your fault, but it's not his fault either. It's just what it is. If anything, you should be more inspired to do better, to make sure that the next time, well, I can't imagine there's a direct competition. I would imagine that girls who are into Western guys are into Western guys, and they'll settle for whatever because they want a Western guy, even a loser, right? I don't know. I feel like some of the accusations that Westerners are losers comes from Asian men who are jealous of the ease that they imagine we have. But the truth is, it is not that easy. And a lot of us have lived in these countries and have, well, fuck everybody else. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about everyone else. But in my particular situation, which I swore I would avoid talking about, but well, in my particular situation, I dated a girl or two here, and then I met a girl. I think like the second girl I met here, I fell in love with, and was really hurt by when that relationship ended. And the reason she wouldn't marry me was basically because I was a foreigner. So as much as you can, you know, you can be angry at all the foreigners who do well with Asian girls here, but at the same time, it's not always a happy ending, and it's not always a guy taking advantage of a Japanese girl. Often it's all the opposite. I've seen foreigners fall in love with Japanese girls who, in the end, decided that, well, maybe, maybe you're not for me. Maybe I don't want to marry you, and they've been broken-hearted. So it's not always that. It's not always one way. The other, I didn't mean to go back to his video at all, but one of the things he says that makes no sense. Again, that whole video doesn't make sense. But another thing that makes no sense in that video is he says a lot of Westerners come to Japan and talk about how great the West is, but they're in Asia, right? Now, first of all, I don't know anyone like that. I've never heard anyone who comes to Japan and makes videos saying the West is great. I don't talk about how great the West is. I am American, and I'm proud to be, well, I'm not proud to be American, but I'm American. I identify as an American. I won't say I'm proud to be an American because I'm lucky to be an American. I would say that. But I won't say that America is better than Japan. I would never say that. We have a lot of problems, horrible problems, race problems and crime problems that are the things that just don't happen in Japan at all. In that sense, America is worse. When it comes to consumerism, America is number one. When it comes to craziness and people just going out on a limb and doing just really nutty things, I would say America's superior, but only barely. I would say if it came to a per population count, per persona, what's it called? Per GDP type of count, I would say Japan is on equal footing. It's a much smaller country, half the size, right? Less than half the size. So I'm not that kind of foreigner who talks about the West being better than Japan. I think it's a really difficult thing to say another country is better than another country. It really depends on what you value. Now, as a family man, as a man with a wife and a child, I would say that the fact that Japan has much less crime than America does relieve me. Even now, I have most of my family's in America. And every once in a while I wonder, are they okay? Did anyone get carjacked? Has anyone been attacked? You wonder about shit like that. But you're never, ever, ever going to wonder about that in Japan. You're never going to wonder, has my family been attacked in a bar or gunned down? The worst Japan has to offer is that there might be an earthquake and the whole city will be destroyed. But at least it's not personal, right? So there's always that. Anyway, I don't know if there's much else to say about this, except I think if you can take this away from, if there's anything to take away from, oh my God, it's gonna rain. I hear thunder. If there's anything I'd like you to take away from this video, it's that it's silly to call another human being a loser. We're all human beings. We all make mistakes. Some of us have more going for others, for ourselves than others, but to say someone is a loser is ridiculous. Who's the guy who cut off his ear? Da Vinci? No, that's not Da Vinci. It was Degas? No, Van Gogh. Is Van Gogh a loser? He didn't sell, I think he sold one painting during his life. Is he a loser? He's remembered forever. I recently saw the movie Whiplash. And in Whiplash, they're having a conversation at a dinner table. What's the guy's name? I forgot the star's name. But the main guy, how could I remember? The main guy is having a conversation with his cousins, Dustin and Travis, his Uncle Frank, his Aunt Emma, and his father Jim. Oh, Andrew, that was his name, Andrew. And everyone's going on and on about how Travis has got the school record for the longest touchdown in history, 93-yard touchdown. Whoa! And Andrew says, dude, you're a level 3 school, what's it called? Level 3 school, grade 3, I don't remember, the rank 3. You're a 3. Your school's only a 3. You're not even a 2, he says. I forgot the ranking system. Somebody write that in the goddamn comments. I forgot. But anyway, they're all like, oh, do you have any friends? Because Andy is a dick. Andy's being a dick. And they say, Andy, do you have any friends? Uncle Frank says, He says, no, I never found any use for them. And he says, well, I think, you know, Paul McCartney and Lennon were friends, school chums. So you know, maybe you should find a friend to play with. And he said, Charlie Parker never had any friends. Until he met Joe Jones or something. And when Joe Jones threw a cymbal at him, they became friends. And he said, well, they have a debate about what is success. And his argument is that success is being talked about years later after you're dead, even if you had no friends. But the other guys, the Uncle Frank or something, he says, I disagree. He thinks success is having lots of friends and having a lot of motivation, and basically being part of society. But it's an interesting debate. It's an interesting debate, and I'm not saying I agree with either one of them, because I think being a total social recluse is not healthy. But at the same time, if you want to get something accomplished, you kind of have to be a loner. She keeps looking at me like, what are you doing? So I'm not saying I agree with either one. I think maybe but maybe there is a sweet spot, you know, a sweet spot where you can be part of both. That's what I'm thinking. Anyway, there are no such thing as true losers, and success depends on how you measure it. When I had my son, and I've done many, many things in this world, but when I had my son, I thought, I've done it. I've done everything. My son was born when I saw him, when my wife gave birth. And she did all the work. I mean, let's be truthful. When I went to go pick him up, now I thought, now I am successful. And all the successes, and I've had quite a few successes, quite a few things I've been proud of in my life. But when I saw my son for the first time, that's when I truly felt I had achieved something. So it's really a subjective matter. Anyway, yeah, the Reddit people, you know, and all the crazy, angry haters, they want to judge you and to tell you that you are a loser if you come to Asia, but I wholeheartedly disagree, because I don't think that word exists. If you do what you want to do and you're happy and you're not hurting other people, you're not a loser. That's what I think. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video. It is a long-ass laundry vlog. I do make these available on audio for my Patreon supporters. It costs you only $2 a month if you want to do that. Or if not, just rip it yourself. But at the very least, if you did enjoy this video, I hope you will leave a comment. Please give it a thumbs up. And everyone, take care of yourselves. And never use that word loser. You're just being petty. Thanks for watching.